Almost 2 years ago, I made a video called, "Is Valheim better than ARK?" In the video, I didn't actually answer the question. I just sat there playing the game. Look at me, haha, I'm running around the world, haha, yeah. Which I think was possibly a little mistake on my part, so today, I'm going to be redoing the video. So buckle your seatbelts, ladies and gentlemen, and let's get into the video. What makes a game good? It's a topic that can lead to a very long conversation about gameplay, mechanics, all these other nonsense, graphics. But in my opinion, what makes a good game is if it's actually fun to play. I'm looking at you, Dark Souls. Oh, shit! Dark Souls is a good game for a different reason, but today we're talking about Valheim versus ARK. So I'm gonna break this video up into a couple of categories. I'm gonna leave timestamps down below so that way you guys can look at it, and if you wanna skip ahead to a certain part, go ahead and do that. We're gonna start with crafting, then we're gonna talk about combat. Next, we're gonna talk about the building in the game. Then we're gonna talk about the vibe. And then we're gonna talk about the length of the game, and if you grind in it, how does the grinding work? So now let's answer the question, is Valheim better than ARK? So starting off with crafting. The thing is with these two games, they are very similar. The crafting is almost exactly the same. I think the difference between the two is the way you actually collect the resources to build things in these games is where the feeling of the game changes a lot. In Valheim, one of the greatest things about that game is when you do chop down trees, unlike Minecraft, they don't float. They actually fall down to the ground, like trees would do when you chop them down. And I'm gonna say, the first time I saw this, I don't know what happened, but I was pleased. I was very excited to see it. It's like my monkey brain said, yeah, this makes sense. But in Minecraft, the first time I tried to chop down a tree, I said, what the fuck? Now in ARK, it's a little bit different. When you chop down a tree, it just kind of falls over. So that happens. But when it comes to collecting the items, I believe that Valheim's way of collecting makes me feel less like I'm doing it as a chore. It doesn't feel as much like a chore when you're in Valheim because there's just some sort of aesthetic, whereas in ARK, everything just kind of evaporates and dissolves into the ether. I don't know where the rocks go. I don't know where anything goes. It just kind of disappears into a fucking void somewhere in time and space. I don't know what's going on there. Certain things you do craft in the games do require tools, which is one thing that is very similar between the two. I don't think there's really too big of a difference there. So I would say as far as crafting and collecting supplies to craft more things, mining and crafting, I would give this point to Valheim. The next category we have is combat. Now, combat in these games is also very similar, except the difference is in Valheim, there are no guns. If you like a first-person shooter, then I would recommend ARK over Valheim. I would say it's only because a first-person game is a little bit more responsive than a third-person game. If you're in first-person, things stick to the center of the screen. It's a lot easier to understand where you're shooting things or what you are hitting. You know, of course, there's also the fact of if you're in first person, there could be things attacking you from behind, which happens very often in ARK because there's so many fucking dinosaurs. But with this one, I'm gonna go ahead and give them a tie. We got right now Valheim 2, ARK 1. The next is going to be the building in the game. A huge part of both of these games, when you do collect supplies, you are able to use those supplies to build structures. In Valheim, there's, I think, like 4 different types of structures you could build. I think you can build stone and wood. Okay, maybe make that about 2 structures you could build. In general, ARK has, I don't know the exact number, but it feels like ARK has more craftable things. It has more variation with the building in the game. There's more variation as far as textures. Now, when it comes to pieces of things that you can build, Valheim definitely got more pieces of building. You got fucking beams, you got angular things, you got 2 types of angular things, logs, which you can use to build a cabin like you're playing Lincoln Logs. There's decorative items, the feeling too of the actual building. The way the items snap together, I think that Valheim does it better. I think the snapping sometimes in ARK can get a little too annoying. But in Valheim, I've never had any issues where I was being frustrated with like, why isn't this working? But in ARK, that shit happens all the time. So on this one, I'm gonna have to give the point of building to Valheim again. Next, we're talking about the vibe. What does it feel like when you're actually in the game playing it? Well, let's start off with Valheim. This game makes me feel like I'm playing a PlayStation 1 game mixed with the RuneScape, mixed with Minecraft. It's like a chill, I can just do whatever I want kind of vibe in this game. But there's also goals, which is very nice to have in a game about survival. In most games that are about survival, there is no goal because the main goal is to survive. But once you figure out how to survive, there isn't one. You've done it. You've accomplished the goal. You have survived. Now what the hell do you do? Now you're supposed to just exist in this world. And if the world isn't fun to exist in, if you get bored of it, then what's the point of playing? It's a game. It's supposed to be fun. Valheim has this chill vibe, a more kind of like surreal, serene kind of vibe. Whereas ARK is more of like it's like there's just a bunch of stuff just everywhere. The graphics don't really help it out at all, if I'm gonna be honest. There is no aesthetic to this world. It's literally like they took pre-made assets and threw them into the world. And they were just like, a palm tree? Let's go download a palm tree asset from the Unity store real quick. It reminds me of a very low budget project that I think came out at a very correct time to get people to play. It's like Call of Duty. Call of Duty doesn't have a style. It's just realistic. Do you guys get what I'm saying? Call of Duty is like a real game, whereas Minecraft is stylized. And so the feelings are completely different. I would say in ARK, the feeling of the game is, there really isn't any feeling. I feel like when you play ARK, you're just dead. You have no emotions. And so with that, we're gonna go ahead and give Valheim another point. And for the final bit, we're gonna talk about the length and the grind. In video games, grind can be annoying.
Are you fucking kidding me? I went through hell and back to protect the last city on Earth and everyone in it, including your blue ass, and all I get for it is a fucking armband?
I mean, it's one of the worst things about most games, unless you're somebody who likes to grind, in which case, survival games are a pretty good fit for you. Because in the majority of the game, what you will be doing is collecting shit. Chopping down trees, chopping up rocks, chopping up animals. You do grind a lot in both of these games. The choice is really, which environment would you rather grind in? Would you rather grind in this? Or would you rather grind in this? As far as the length of the game goes, I'm not sure. I've never, whatever you would call, finished either of these games. I've played them for almost 100 hours each, and I haven't finished yet. That gives you a pretty good example of how long both of these games are. You will spend possibly hundreds of hours playing both of these games. So as far as those go, I would give them a tie. And there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. That's our final point, which means we can ask the question again. Is Valheim better than ARK? And just slightly, yes, I think it is. And I think the reason why Valheim is better than ARK has more to do with the graphics and the feeling of the game. Because if you want to be stuck in a world mining away, you better do it in one that looks nice and gives you a good feeling while doing it. And I think that Valheim does just that. I think it keeps my interest a lot longer than ARK can. Besides the issues that I have had with ARK in the past, I think ARK is a alright game if you get it on discount. Yeah, that's my opinion. So 2 years later, here we are. I remade the video. Hopefully you guys liked that one. If you did, click the like button. If you want to join and support the channel, go ahead and click that subscribe button. If you want to further support the channel, you can join the Patreon or join the Discord. Links for those will be down in the description. Anyways, that's it for today, guys. My name is Matters, playing the games that matter, and I will see you next time.